Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
Good. How are you?
It's great to see you.
Good to see you. How's Villanova?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I'm representing today
What does ACMP stand for?
the Association of Church Musicians in Philadelphia. I'd like to welcome what are you? Are you Excellency?
I think so. That's what they say.
Great.
There's nothing excellent about me, though, but...
Oh, please. All right. Well, I'm glad this is with you. Well, welcome, everyone. Welcome to our members and friends. My name is Sean McElwee, and I'm the president of the Association of Church Musicians in Philadelphia, a professional organization founded by Dr. Peter Lamanna in 1968 to provide church musicians within the Archdiocese of Philadelphia continuing high-quality liturgical and music education. The organization additionally strives to provide spiritual formation for the liturgical musician, as well as professional networking and opportunities for Christian fellowship. And I am delighted today to welcome our shepherd, our pastor, our leader, His Excellency, Archbishop Nelson Perez. Welcome, Archbishop, and thank
you, Sean. It's great to see you and to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for being with us today. It's good to see you again. For our members that don't know, you actually hired me out at St. Agnes Parish in Westchester.
Right.
How long ago was that? I think that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, that could be, yeah.
10 years ago. And I think that you were pastor for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years before you got your next appointment.
Yeah, I was pastor.
Yeah.
I love that parish. It was a great parish.
Oh, me too. I think I had been there a year and a half with you under your leadership. Right. But yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful community and still is. I have some questions for you. So first would be, maybe to start personally, how have you been managing with the stay-at-home orders and the social distancing? And obviously you have a lot of things to consider, a lot of people to consider, but maybe for you yourself, how have you been managing?
Well, it depends on what level, right? Liturgically, I think it's really challenging to stand in front of an empty cathedral and preach to like empty pews, but it's not something I'm used to doing, to like preaching to this digital community out there that I don't see. Because of my own cultural background, Latins are all, physical and touchy feeling and shake hands and hug and stuff like that. And so that human contact, I think a lot of people are feeling that, right? Because of the social distancing. Friends of mine and people I run into or hear about, talk about, they just miss being able to hug another human being, type of thing. I think that's an interesting comment that I'm hearing over and over again from people, because this is not the way we human beings behave, right? And even that term social distance, it's like a paradox. Being social is not supposed to be distant. It's actually the opposite. But to bring those two words together, it's kind of interesting. And so I really long for the time that we could publicly again celebrate the Eucharist together and bring people back to church. That has been challenging, and it's certainly not the way I wanted to start my time in coming back to the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. I had planned to do deanery gatherings and meetings and masses and begin to visit universities and high schools and schools and parishes and really to do what a bishop is supposed to be, out among people and the flock, so to speak, right? Among the shepherd among his flock. But so this has kind of hampered that. But it will come back, that's not something that's gone forever, but it's certainly not the way I would have wanted to start. I don't stay, so I'm at the Archdiocesan offices right now in my office. So I come here and do Zoom meetings like this and conference calls. And now there's a good part of that, right? Because it has given me the time to get up to speed administratively and
Sure.
also to address certain administrative issues that needed to be addressed, that I was able to front load a little bit, and I won't have to do them later. So that part was good. So I think we're all using, or I feel comfortable that at least I'm using this time in a fruitful and productive way. My days are filled, so it's not like I'm sitting around doing nothing all day. So
Right.
that part of it, is make the best with what you have, right? Life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Right.
Mhm.
So then let me ask you, during this time of challenge, you've been vocal about the church's faithfulness to her people. You've said that the church in Philadelphia is not closing down, not abandoning her people. What would you say to our members, so our church musician members and friends who have lost the ability to make music in their parishes at this time because of the social distancing requirements or other factors?
Mhm.
Any words of wisdom or insight or encouragement for our members?
Well, to be patient with the world around us right now. It's in a sense I've lost the ability to to do my craft too,
Mhm.
as church musicians. Doesn't make you any less of a church musician, right? But it's not. At least all I could say is the way I view it is I don't have any control over this. Um, and if the Lord permitted it at the end, there has to be something good in it too. So and you know, what is hidden in this that the Lord actually wants me personally to discover, that maybe I had been taking for granted. Um, and I think that's a question for all of us to ask ourselves, right? Because this situation of the coronavirus has been beyond our control, right? And that's a hard thing for us because we like to be in control. We like to make decisions. And like this situation just reminded us that we're not in the control at times that we think we are. And there's a humility about that. There's something of that remembering that there's something very humbling about that, where the situation, and not anyone in particular, but the situation says, no, you will not live for now as you lived before. And I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, quite a time for Lent, right? This
I
was the,
think it was from God's perspective. I said, what a Lent this was. You know, we didn't, we didn't have to give up the tasty cakes this Lent
right.
because we gave up so many other things.
Hmm.
And the purpose of giving up something in the first place is to discover something. It's not, God doesn't need our tasty cakes. He created them. So why would he need them? Right? Um, so the stuff that we had to give up this Lent, it was interesting. And it's interesting that now in the Easter time, thankfully, praise God, now in the media we hear now the talk is shifting, right? Now we're talking about reopening, about rising again, right? And it's happening in Easter. It couldn't have happened at a better time.
Right. I think when we're back together, the sung Alleluia will have a whole new meaning. It
Absolutely,
might
yeah.
be real to us in a way that it maybe
That
couldn't have
it's
been
never been.
before. Hmm. So let me ask you then, based on your years of experience in ministry, you've had a wide range of experiences with sacred music, I'm sure, with your time serving as parochial vicar or as pastor, as bishop, and now an archbishop. It's funny. The last time that you saw me, you said, "Every time I see you, you have a different haircut." And every time I see you, you have a different title. I just thought about that. So, what are some qualities that you admire in a good music minister? I'm not sure how closely you've been able to work with them in the recent years. I can speak to what it was like working under you, which was a great experience, and I'm glad it was, one of my first professional experiences. But what are some qualities that you look for in a person who is serving in this role?
Well, Sean, the reality is I myself was a pastoral musician,
I know, yeah.
not at the level of the professionalism that you are, and that many members of your organization are. I'm a frustrated musician. I used to go up and play the organ that you play at St. Agnes all the time when no one was there, right? And if somebody who's not a musician would have probably thought that I played the organ, and I actually didn't, right? Um, but I did play the guitar, and I was a minister of music and had a group when I was in college and stuff that we sang at all sorts of stuff in up in North Jersey, parishes and large gatherings. We were the musicians at one point for a national conference of marriage encounter with 20,000 people at Rutgers University. So I was that part of it. Um, I think the greatest thing that I appreciate is that unlike other forms of music, the pastoral musician is a ministry. And the pastoral musician doesn't just perform, but he serves. He or she serves. Um, and and there is a role of the pastoral musician to elicit from 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 the people they serve uh, the deepest longings of their heart, which is what music does, right? What music is a very powerful medium. Um, it elicits all sorts of stuff inside of us. And for example, we could be in the car and a song comes up and it takes us right back to like where I was in 1975. It's amazing. It conjures up, it does it in all of us. It conjures up memories and images and people. I could hear a song from 1976 and I remember my friends in grade school. And it was elicited by just the listening of a piece of music and lyrics in a second, in a split second. It opens up this video library, you know? So music is a powerful, powerful medium. And in the context of the liturgy, is there first and foremost to praise God, but also to serve the people and to put and to bring people the ability to pray. It's not a concert, and so you always know. Like I know as a priest, I always know when I walk into a church if the pastoral musicians are just providing me with a concert, or are they praying, or are they helping people to pray. Um, I always know that, you know, especially as a bishop because you roam around a lot, right? So when I was a pastor, you certainly were helping people to pray, and I never thought that you at St. Agnes was that you were up there, you know, giving a concert every week. Never felt that. But as I roamed around in New York and Cleveland, and eventually I'll do here, I haven't done it yet. You walk in and out of places, right? And you just walk to what they're doing. You don't create it. You don't ask for it. You just walk as to how into their world. And I would think as a frustrated musician and a former uh, pastoral musician, I would say, oh, that was a great concert. And it was. It was musically perfect and in its technique, and it could be impeccable, but it was a concert. And then there are other ones that you walk in there and my God, it brings tears to your eyes and to your heart of joy and of emotion, because it's not a concert, it's an engagement of the soul in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that that experience, you know, it can be, maybe it's just a sense, a feeling that you know how or whether something is being offered authentically, you know, because in terms of style and, you know, performance practice, so to speak, you know, the simplest music and the most complex music, I think, can both be offered in performance mode and in the highest craftsmanship, but out of service.
But out of service, right?
Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts on that. So maybe just one more, and that would be if you had one overall message for our members and friends, so music directors, organists, cantors, choir members, You spoke about the power of music itself, and I think a lot of people experience music as a real communication of the divine. For those who are not experiencing that now, or not able to participate it in themselves the way that they have in the past, maybe
Mhm.
what's one message you would want our members to know during this time?
To know how important your role is in the life of the church and the life of the liturgy. When of course we all understand the presence of the sacramental presence of the Eucharist, and that is the most important part, right? The action of grace in through the sacramental life of the church, and how the Eucharist is the summit, is the source of our of the life of grace. No, absolutely, right? However, the common folk coming in and out of our churches, right, are touched in a very human way, right? Other than by grace, of course, I take that for granted. You know, other than grace, they are they are touched by two things: the homily and music, right? The homily and music. Um, so when I hear my friends, my family members, my cousins, their kids, um, and their experience in the context of the liturgy, they understand the theological truths to a certain extent. Their experience of that theological truth is, in a sense, wrapped around a human element. And in particular, it all comes down to the music that touches their heart and the homily that touches their heart. Interesting.
Hmm.
And both those things at the end have to deal with the passion, that fire in the belly that either the pastoral musician has, or or the or the preacher has, or the priest or the deacon have, right? Um, so we all have the experience of going to mass and saying, "My God, the music there was just so moving. It brought tears to my eyes. My God, I felt like that pastor was just talking to me. That deacon, that priest, they were preaching, and they were preaching to me. How could they know what was going on in my heart?" We have that. We have had those experiences, and I think that experience, the liturgical musician has an incredible role in the overall experience of the liturgy, which is both divine grace, but it also is incarnated in its ministers, and the pastoral musician and pastoral music, sacred music in the life of the liturgy and of the church has a huge opportunity and component in touching people's lives and proclaiming the gospel.
Well, I think you've given us a lot of food for thought, and I think especially your words right there will serve to sort of reinvigorate a lot of us who are struggling with how to live out our sense of personal mission, how to live out our vocation in this role of service
Mhm.
during this time where we have to find new ways to do so. And speaking of grace and our role in helping uh, being instruments of God's grace, it's I think you're asking us to be up to the challenge too. And
Yeah, it would be great if ministers of music would pray together before they went out together to serve the people of God, in the same way that they warm up their voice, their voices, their instrument, whether it be their voices, or they warm up the organ or the violin. They do that. So you see musicians, they tune their instruments, they warm up their voices, they do exercises and stuff like that. Those are good things that a good musician does in any context. The pastoral musician has to warm up their soul as well.
well, thank you for helping put us in a spot of focus and giving us some food for thought. So, Archbishop Nelson Perez, thank you so much for joining us today. And On behalf of the Association of Church Musicians in Philadelphia, we welcome you to Philadelphia. We welcome you back. We're looking forward to a relationship with you that's mutually supportive, and we really appreciate this time. So thanks so much. And from
Thank you. And thank you for all you do for the Church of Philadelphia. And maybe when this stuff all lifts and we could go back to life a little bit. And if you guys have a big gathering or something, please let me know and see if I'd love to join you to see and to be with you.
yeah, this was in lieu of, what would have been the normal practice
Oh,
of,
really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
no, absolutely. We'll be sure to do that. Thanks so much.
God bless you. God bless you, Sean.
All right, we're all done. Thank you so
All
much.
right, great. Thank you.